Hi, guys, and welcome back. Today I'm talking about all things anxiety. Now, I'm going to kick off by saying that a certain level of anxiety is normal. I mean, it's actually required to help you perform at an optimum level. That being said, for some people, it is more pervasive and highly problematic. And as someone who would have struggled with anxiety numerous times throughout my life, I understand only too well how distressing it is when you're in an anxious state that you can't snap out of, and it impacts on you on every single level. I mean, your cognitive function is impaired, you're not able to think properly, you're physically drained, you're just exhausted from going over the same stuff and experiencing the same strong emotions all of the time. Spiritually, you're completely disconnected from people, and emotionally, you are closed off from a lot of potential joy and meaning because you're so focused on keeping yourself in this state of unhappiness and fear. And the reality is, you're living through an event or a circumstance that may not necessarily ever happen, so you're pushing yourself through it unnecessarily. That being said, I'm very opposed to the whole concept of people saying you just need to change how you think, because that's a huge oversimplification of what is very problematic and debilitating for some people. Oftentimes, our anxiety is not about what's going on in our current life, it's actually a reaction to a past event, some trauma or some emotional experience that we have never processed fully. And until we learn to process it fully, we will continue to have the same violent and reactive responses to the triggers. So it's about, first of all, getting help with analysing the root cause, the underlying cause of your anxiety. And a therapist can help you do this. Then you can look at ways at building skills that help you cope better. So that includes things like cognitive reappraisal, emotional resilience, stress tolerance, self-acceptance, self-awareness, so that you're aware of what your triggers are. You're aware of the way that you think that is sometimes distorted due to past events, and you're able to start challenging those thoughts. You can take them out of your head, put them down on paper and say to yourself, okay, how is this thought process beneficial to me? How is it helping me get through my day? And if it is not helping me, how can I turn it around? How can I challenge the way that I am thinking that keeps me stuck? And again, this is a practice. This is a discipline. This is something that you need to build on, as opposed to something you can just acquire overnight. So don't be hard on yourself if you find that your first few attempts at coping with anxiety, at being able to tolerate your anxiety, at being able to challenge your anxiety a little bit, fail, because it is a lifelong practice. The likelihood is you're always going to have strong emotional responses to certain things, but it's about dealing with them a little bit better and not feeling a need to fear them, being able to sit with them and nearly just be like, oh, there that is again, it's not that big a deal, becoming more rational about things. That being said, there is a lot of more practical things you can do to help your anxiety, such as learning how to go through a body scan, which is something I do with most of my clients. It's about being aware of the ways in which you physically hold on to your anxiety and hold on to your stress. There's also meditation, and there's numerous types of meditation. It's just about finding one that works for you, and it's not about meditating for 2 hours at a time. It's about sometimes learning to meditate for 2 minutes at a time, just to give yourself time to come away from the barrage of thoughts that are causing you problems. Learning how to breathe properly, learning how to look after yourself, learning things like how do you taking a walk when you need to just clear your head a little bit, cutting down on stimulants, getting enough sleep. These are all really important, but again, they work as a unit. They do not work on a solitary basis. basis. It's about looking at everything. One of the most important things you can do as well is journal. Stay on top of your thoughts, stay on top of your emotions. Most of us don't have a self-awareness practice, and it is essential if you want to have a more fulfilling life and if you want to deal with anxiety. Help other people. Get yourself out of your own head. I mean, the more involved you are with the community, the more you feel you are serving others, the more you take yourself outside of yourself. You know, I know we talk a lot about self-care and the importance of self, whereas in fact, the importance of community in our spiritual, our emotional, and our mental health is often underestimated. So it's about doing something nice for somebody else in order to help yourself. Serve yourself so that in turn you can serve others. Be very aware of your triggers. I mean, oftentimes we're being pinged on throughout our day and we're not even switching on to it. We're not even, assessing, okay, why does that bother me so much? And again, as I said, this is the sort of thing that you generally do with a therapist so that you get a better idea of what you need to build a resilience against. Practice acceptance. Life isn't going to be anxiety free. We're going to have ups and downs. We're going to have peaks and troughs. And the more resilient you are, the more you will be able to ride that wave, as opposed to getting just blasted by it every time it comes at you. Prioritize healing. Look after yourself. Look after your soul, And again, it's all about meditation. It's becoming aware of the self. It's doing nice things for other people. It's promoting things like lifelong learning. I mean, we're stuck in our phones all day and we're losing our ability to actually enjoy life and to enjoy each other. And it's about taking time away from technology, taking time away from the stresses of your life and allowing yourself to just be in nature and to be in the moment. Practice your mindfulness. Come out of your head and just be like, what's actually going on for me at the moment? Schedule as much as your life as you can so that you're not adding to your stress. Make decisions that are easy to make, such as picking your outfit the night before, or, that reduce the amount of stress that you have on a daily basis when you get out of the bed in the morning. Stay away from stimulants. I mean, literally caffeine plays havoc with any anxiety, so just be very, very mindful of that and be compassionate with yourself. As I said, we often feel alone in our anxiety, and oftentimes it's just a case of kind of surrendering to it and just being like, oh, do you know something? I don't need to do this by myself. Talk to somebody, write about it, reach out, connect with people, create meaningful relationships. I mean, literally, the more open we are on a very intimate level with people about what's going on for us, instead of this kind of thing of posting on your social media for 20,000 people to comment on your anxiety and yet nobody to give you a hug, And I mean, this is what you need. You need personal interaction. You need one-to-one connection in order to feel better about things. If this is something that you'd like to learn more about, or if anxiety is something that's really problematic for you and you feel you may have some emotional work that you need to resolve, get in touch on the website. It's fundamentals.ie, or get in touch on Facebook or Instagram. You can also catch me on my new podcast, Touchy and Feely, with Neil O'Brien. It's on iTunes and Spotify, so go subscribe. And you'll get lots of videos on anxiety, finding purpose, finding fulfillment, and dealing with some mental health issues on my YouTube channel. It's Fiona Feely. Go check it out, subscribe, let me know what you think.